Hey guys, Dieter Melhorn out on the water bright and early this morning. Gonna talk a little bit about the Big Cat Fever medium light trolling rod. But before we do that, we got to get some baits in the water and catch a few fish. All right guys, there you see it. We got some white perch over here, got it cut up into small pieces, and we also got some chicken. Those are the two baits we're gonna be using. Port side of the boat, we're gonna have the perch. That side, the right side as some of you call it, starboard side, we're gonna have out some chicken. Start out with getting the old perch head rigged up here. Santee rig, got a little rattling float on here, some trophycatfishtackle.com. They sent me some of these to try out. Got some more I'm gonna be trying out later this year. Stay tuned for that. Trophy cat tackle though, trying those out. Been working good. They're catching fish, don't seem to be scaring them away. Got the old ancient mariner reel, 30-pound Andy line. And like I said, what we're gonna talk about, the Big Cat Fever medium light trolling rod. Gonna give you the rundown on this rod. Been using it for a while now. I can tell you what I like and what I don't like about it. This one here, another piece of perch, a smaller piece. Didn't have much luck on my last trip with bigger baits, so downsizing a little bit. I got that bigger perch head out there, but some of these fillets, I'm gonna see if it makes a difference with the catch rate. Caught a lot more fish on the chicken than I did the perch, so I'm gonna downsize the bait, see if that helps. All right guys, first let me start by saying there is no perfect rod. There is no perfect catfish rod. There is no perfect fishing rod. There's a lot of good products out there. Anybody that tries to tell you that their rod is perfect or the best, well, they're simply trying to sell you something. There you go guys, we got one going on the red reel. It's on a piece of perch. We may have something going behind me, keep your eyes on that, but this is the better fish here. Finally got hooked up. I fished the first spot there where I put the baits in, and I pulled that for about an hour back in the creek and never got hooked up. Never had a bite, to be perfectly honest. Got out here some open deeper water and we're hooked up. That fish is on top of the water back there. You see that bend on the rod? It's a good indication of what these medium light trolling rods are like. Get these boards off. Another reason I like them is when I'm doing this right here alone or with a guide client, because of that flexible tip, you can keep a bend on that rod when you pop those boards off by yourself. So another little thing I forgot about that I liked about them, that flexibility, that little bit of a bend keeps tension on that tip, helps make sure you stay hooked up with your fish. You can pop the boards loose, I've said that before, but I like getting them off and getting them out of the way. Oh yeah, nice fish. Nice fish. Let's see if we can boga grip him. Oh, another reason I like the tip, you get one on a short leash like this when I should be netting it, but I'm not. I got some flexibility with that tip. Oh, I'm gonna lose that fish if I'm not careful. I am going to lose it because he is not super duper hooked good. Maybe he is, I don't know, got him. We'll see how good he's hooked. Sometimes you look at that hook and go, he's not hooked good. He's hooked pretty good. He's hooked better than I thought. Get that loose there, come on. Boom, he's free. Get a little date on him, collecting some stuff for the biologist, and then we'll get him back alive. You know, fishing rods they're almost similar to boats. There is no perfect boat for all conditions. Rods vary in the length of the rod, the action of the rod, and you know, there's no perfect one that works in every situation or, you know, scenario that you're fishing in. Where I fish at, it's mainly on lakes and the rivers that feed them. I also do a lot of trolling. I do some anchoring, probably more than people think, but a lot of what I do, especially on my guide trips with clients, is drifting, trolling, dragging baits for catfish. And that type of fishing is what led me to try out and use and continue to use these Big Cat Fever medium light trolling rods. Guys, one of those rods I was going to check, I think may have a fish on it. I'm not really sure if he's there. Doesn't feel like it now. Maybe there's a fish, I don't know. If it is, it's very, very small. Had a bite. Yeah, there's something. Unless I got into another line. There was something on there, something hit it at least when I was around, or when I was reeling in that last fish. Yep, a very, very small fish. One of the things about these rods, very forgiving on pulling hooks off of these little bitty fish. So it's a T90 blue. Hey, get your fins up. Get your fins up. There we go. At least it caught him. He's little, but we're happy to have it. The thing that I liked about them was the slower action of the tip. It's a softer tip, a little more whippy, and it really seems to help with getting hookups on smaller fish that are not biting aggressively. And the tips are very, very forgiving at the boat. It works out really good with new anglers and people that I have on guide trips that are not experienced fishermen, do not know how to work a rod all that well. Having that flexible tip is very forgiving for those people. Now, with that said, the double-edged sword to that is they're not the best rod for casting heavy weights. So this is not something you would want to be using on a big river somewhere fishing where you're having to chunk 8, 10, 12 ounces of weight. These rods are not designed for that. The good news is Catch the Fever, Big Cat Fever has a whole line of rods that can accommodate that. Again, it goes back to there are specific rods, tools really, for different tasks when it comes to fishing. And that's the thing about these rods. These suit this style of fishing very well. All right, guys, I think we got one on the inside planer. Chicken side again. Stayed hooked up. I, again, don't think this is a big fish. Tell you one thing, when I started using these rods, I was curious as to how they were going to work with the planer boards, was skeptical. Felt I needed a stiffer action, stiffer tip, faster action, but I'm gonna be honest with you, I like them. I have not tracked it to say definitively that my hookup rates are better. Calm down, little sucker. Another thing, I love the flexible tip. That little thing went to shaking. It's a little channel cat. Could have thrown that hook. That tip is forgiving on that. Hopefully he stays hooked up. Usually they get thrashy when they're whisker hooked. But anyway, the planer boards, these rods have worked great. So no complaints with them at all on the planer boards. Come in. Oh, is he whisker hooked or not? We're gonna let him stop thrashing. Oh, he is hooked. Oh, get him in the boat. Boom. That's what I mean, whisker hooked right there. That one's not a pretty good hook though. That's in the jaw. But sometimes you'll get those suckers right through that. And oh, it drives them nuts. You get it right through that little piece. And it's very easy. They almost know they can flick their whiskers a bunch and get off. And they will. So anyway, not a giant, but we got him hooked. Funny, it's got an old hook mark right there in that side of his mouth. Look at that. See that hook mark there? And then I just had him hooked on this side. You don't learn your lesson, do you, fella? Now, one of the questions I get is, will they handle big fish? Well, I guess it depends on what your idea of big fish is. For the fish I'm catching, 40, 50, 60 pounds, yes. We've had a 10-year-old kid bring in a 47-pound fish. I've caught one in the 50s. We've had many in the 40s, 30s, and 20s caught. So, yes, they will handle those fish. Now, is this a rod that you're going to want to use in 1.5 hour, 2 mile an hour river current? Probably not. Could you get a fish in? Absolutely. Would not be as easy as it would be with a heavier rod, but they will land those bigger fish. And as always, you know, I'm going to give you the upsides and the downsides. What are some of the downsides to them? Well, like I've said with a lot of the rods from Catch the Fever, Big Cat Fever, I wish they had a shorter version. I know you guys that fish out of kayaks say the same thing. These are 7'6", and I know they're building these rods as kind of a broad reaching rod for a lot of different people without having to basically produce a whole bunch of different sizes, because let's face it, guys, that costs a lot of money. It costs a lot of money to keep that kind of stuff in inventory. So the 7'6" covers a wide range of people. You can fish off a boat with them, fine. You can fish off a kayak with them, fine. And you know, you get a little extra casting distance being on the bank with a rod that length. But ideally, perfect world, I wish they were 7 foot. The other big negative with the rod, and this is true with any of the catfish rods that are out there, is availability. They're hard to find. There are places where you can order them from. You can order them from Catch the Fever. They keep some in inventory, but a lot of their stuff goes out to their dealers. The problem with the dealers, there's a limited line of dealers out there. Hopefully you've got one near you. Otherwise you're going to be paying shipping, and it's pretty much true with everybody. Shipping kills you on these things. That's going to be true with any of the catfish specific rods out there. So what's the bottom line on all of this when it comes to these rods? They're staying on the boat. I mean, plain and simple. I like these rods. I like the action on them. For me, my type of fishing, where I'm fishing, the guide trips that I do, These are a great rod, and you're gonna be seeing them on this boat fishing for a long time. Well, folks, if you made it this far, thank you for watching. Here are a couple more videos that I think you're gonna like. I'd watch that one, and then that one. No, do that one first, and then that one. I don't know, just watch them both. They're both good.